All right. Oh, gosh, it's August already.
I know,
Welcome, everyone,
isn't that
to
amazing?
the August 3rd,
Yeah, 3rd.
2020 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board this year. To my right is Vice President Gary Merrill and our County Administrator Mike Fromer, and to my left is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis, and Jennifer Walraven is our clerk today. So let's start.
Resolution number 20-644, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held July 27th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 20-644. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-645, in the matter of approving purchase orders and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM-APR 0731.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 20-645. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-646, in the matter of accepting the treasurer's report for the month of June 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 20-646. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-647, in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 20-647. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-648, in the matter of designating August 2020 as Child Support Awareness Month in Delaware County.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
Good morning, Joyce Bowens, Director of Delaware County Child Support. August is Child Support Awareness Month. We join with other child support professionals across Ohio and nationwide to promote the benefits and the importance of the child support to the families. We want to recognize and thank our community partners as well as my staff for all their efforts on behalf of our clients we serve. Ohio Child Support Program helps children get the financial and medical support they are legally entitled to and deserve. More than 1 million children in Ohio have child support cases, and the program consistently ranks as one of the best in the nation. The achievements reflect a joint dedicated effort among federal, state, and county agencies. The child support provides services to over 1 million children in the state. They encourage responsible parenting, family sufficiency, and child's well-being. Agency provides a range of family support services to residents, establishment of child support order and or medical order, locating the parent, establishing a legal parent-child relationship, and establishing and modifying support orders. Some of the accomplishments that Delaware County has achieved over the year, we collected $25.4 million on 4,530 cases. The agency is currently collecting on 84.94% of the current obligation. We established 128 paternities in 2019 and collected $18.50 for every dollar the agency spent. The agency received awards for Best Performance Paternity Establishment in a medium caseload, Best Performance in Collection, Best Performance in Collections on arrears, and Best Overall Performance in a medium division.
okay.
I
Comments?
just have a question. I was just curious with the virus, having any impact upon child payments?
Actually, because of the stimulus, we have not seen much of a difference.
Because of the what, I'm sorry?
The stimulus money that they went
okay,
out,
okay.
it was not excluded from the federal, from the Fed, so we got a lot of that for the arrears towards child support.
Okay, yeah, that was really the question I had was last 4 or 5 months, how things been going.
We're doing what we can to, of course, keep our staff safe and the community safe, and we're still processing payments, still taking phone calls, and business as normal as can be.
Okay,
That's what I wondered too, however, how the staff was doing and And,
We have tough days, but we're making it work.
yeah, yeah,
They're all pulling together, and they make a good team together, and they're doing good.
sure. Please relay our thanks and appreciation for all the hard work, and thank you, many kudos to you and the staff
Yeah.
for your accomplishments.
And continued accomplishments.
You're right.
This is not a
Continued.
new thing.
That's right,
You
that's
set the
right.
bar pretty hard and you keep hitting it.
Thank you.
That's
So
right.
Congratulations. Normally, we would have a lot of your team in here,
Yeah,
but obviously
hopefully they're
it won't work.
watching, and I just want to tell them thank you for all their hard work, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
The list of accomplishments is remarkable, and we continue to do it year after year, so congratulations, and thanks to your whole team.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you for coming
We do
on.
need a vote on this, though, right, Jennifer? Okay.
Resolution number 20-648. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Joyce.
Joyce.
Resolution number 20-649, in the matter of approving an amendment to the agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Sheriff, and Trinity Services Group Incorporated for inmate food service at the Delaware County Jail.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Dean Stelzer, Chief Business Officer for the Delaware County Sheriff's Office. This contract amendment came about due to changes at the jail. Obviously, the COVID-19 issues, there was a big effort to reduce the population, and it dramatically went down earlier this year. There was a provision in the original agreement with the vendor that provides food. They prepare the food there at the site. That did indicate that if there were situations that occurred, including a reduction in the population at the jail outside the vendor's control, that they would renegotiate the rates. The rates are based on a sliding scale based on the number, the population there. It's a per diem amount, and the more people there, the less their per unit rate. Obviously, the less, the higher, because they have certain fixed costs. So there's negotiations that went back and forth in March, April. Again, things were kind of crazy, but ultimately they came up with a change to the sliding scale, and that was presented and kind of went through the whole process to get vetted. One issue related was that it was going to be retroactive to when the actual jail population went down fairly dramatically, but ultimately came up with an amendment to the agreement. The effect, the food costs will still be less, obviously, even though the per unit rate is a little bit higher, but there's obviously a lot less people at the jail. So entertain any questions you may have.
Okay.
So the old contract, at the point that it's those levels, that the old rates are still applying?
Please.
The levels when we had regular numbers, whatever that was, let's say 200, whatever the old contract expected the level of 200, it still is. We're just talking about the lower level.
The rates didn't really change. The original scale didn't contemplate
question.
a census of less than, I think, 150, and it dropped well below that, so they didn't have any per unit rates, and so this amendment just adds to the original scale, making it
So anything
drop.
above 150 is still at the same
Yeah,
rates?
those rates haven't changed.
Yeah. What is the current population? Now, I know last week, I think it was maybe a week before, they were saying
A
it's
little bit, but not a lot. It's still, I think, hovering around that 100, and I think it's been up
I think I heard 90 from somewhere last week from somebody.
90 to 100. It dropped below that, but I mean, it's been about 200 on, typically well above 200 on an average basis.
Right. Yeah, I think it was 90-something, like you said. I think the sheriff's coming in anyway.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
you can ask him,
Oh,
too.
No, he's not coming.
Yeah,
He's-
well, in a
We don't-
minute, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Sorry, yeah.
Dean's covering the topic fine.
Yeah.
So, any other questions?
I have done.
All right, makes sense. I mean, again, nobody contemplated below 150 population. The
Right.
contract just didn't
Kind of
include it, so, it's fair. They receive a higher rate for those smaller populations. Vote?
Vote on motion 20-649. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-650, in the matter of approving a contract between the Marion County Board of Commissioners and the Delaware County Board of Commissioners regarding inmate housing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
This and the next resolution both relate to charges we assess to other jurisdictions that house their prisoners at the Delaware County Jail. There's probably 7 or 8 agreements in place. A few of them, maybe only 1 or 2, are kind of go back and forth where we could actually house prisoners in their facilities. More often than not, most of them, though, are for housing prisoners here in the Delaware County Jail. The Marion County one, I believe, is a new one. The Shawnee Hills agreement is renewing a previous agreement. The contracted rate did go up recently. It was $65 a day that was in place for several years, and more recently it's gone up to $83 a day. So as these agreements turn over, the new rate is put in the agreement.
I know Marion is maxed out with their jail population, and I know we had a conversation with a couple of commissioners months and months ago, probably a year or more ago, about working this out and sharing or housing some of their overflow. So glad we were able to make it happen. You know, Marion was looking at having to build a new facility, which would have been extremely expensive, and so if we can help them, good to see that, and it helps us a little bit. Obviously, we covered a little bit of
Cover
our
some of
overhead.
our fixed costs as we have. And
Yeah, so good to see this come to fruition. We'll do the first one. Jennifer, vote.
Vote on motion 20-650, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 20-651, in the matter of approving a contract between Shawnee Hills Village Council and the Delaware County Board of Commissioners regarding inmate housing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Any further discussion? Same as
Same as-
Marion? Now, this one, though, has been in effect. We've had an
This
agreement
is
with
just
Shawnee
a
Hills
renewal with the rate increase.
at the new rate, the higher
At the new
rate.
rate.
Okay, vote?
Vote on motion 20-651, Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye. All right, thanks, Dean.
We'll give Deputy Director McPeak a few minutes
He's
to
coming.
get in here. There's a slight delay between us and the room across the
Oh, is there? Okay.
Resolution number 20-652, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer improvement plans before Liberty Grand District Section 1, Phase A and B, and the Cove at Evans Farm.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Morning, Commissioners. Eric McPeak, Deputy Director of Operations for the Delaware County Regional Sewer District. Have a number of things to get through this morning. The first one are the improvement plans for your approval. They've all met the minimum standards and requirements by the sewer district. Liberty Grand Section 1 is a single-family development. It's west of Sawmill and north of Home Road, and there's 50 lots there. The Cove at Evans Farms is on the north side of Lewis Center Road, between North Road and the railroad tracks. 109 attached townhome units with the clubhouse. And the units share a wall and have attached garages there.
It's on the west side of the railroad, though?
Yes.
It's right when you hit the new roundabout.
It's where they took all those trees out?
Yeah.
Cool.
At that corner.
Like the northeast corner of the roundabout.
That's what I thought.
That
Okay.
one's-
Yeah.
I knew they were getting ready.
They contemplated a gas station a while ago. No, it's 109 units.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, vote?
Vote on motion 20-652, Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Resolution number 20-653, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer subdivided agreements for Evans Farm, Section 2, Phase B, Liberty Grand District, Section 1, Phase A and B, and villas at Old Harbor West, Section 1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So these are all standard subdividers agreements. Evans Farm, Section 2, is on the northeast side of the main Evans development. It includes 25 lots. Liberty Grand Section 1 is the same development as above that we just talked about, and there's 50 lots there. The Villas at Old Harbor West has 38 single-family lots, and it's located to the west side of Old State Road and north of Hellenbach. Hollenbeck, sorry. This one has patio homes from the private development, clubhouse and community center as well.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 20-653. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-654, in the matter of approving a service agreement with Metropolitan Environmental Services for sludge hauling from county package plants.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So this is an interim solution. We have the accident last month with our tanker truck that rolled. We still have to move our sludge from the treatment plants. It's a $50,000 contract. We don't anticipate using the entire amount. Hopefully, we'll find a replacement tanker truck in the meantime. Currently, insurance adjuster is reviewing that, and we're waiting to hear back on what they say.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 20-654. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-655, in the matter of approving amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement with H.R. Gray Incorporated for on-call testing and inspection services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is an increase in the contract amount from $24,900 to $49,900 for 2020 residential inspection services under the pre-qual process that we have in the sewer district. These are the fees that are reimbursed 100% by the developers through the inspection fee process for each project. So we'll be reimbursed for these expenses.
Okay. Vote. Vote.
Vote on motion 20-655. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-656, in the matter of approving partial release and vacation of sanitary sewer easement for Lot 6322 Willow Bend, Section 1, Genoa Township, Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Discussion.
So this, when Willow Bend subdivision was originally constructed, the plans called for a lateral to be extended in off-site property to the north. The off-site property recently went through a lot split, and it was discovered that the lateral didn't follow the path that was shown in the plans, and where the easement had been platted previously. Back in April, Willow Bend HOA granted a new sanitary easement in the location of the sanitary lateral where we ended up putting it. Now the HOA would like the original easement area to be vacated since there aren't any sanitary facilities located in that area, and it's acceptable to the sewer district that happens.
You don't expect to need it for any reason.
Right, after the lot split, we don't need that path.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 20-656. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-657, in the matter of approving an easement to American Electric Power in conjunction with the Lower Alum Creek Relief Pump Station project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So this easement will allow us to run power, utilities, fiber optic to the new Lower Elm Creek Relief Pump Station. And I believe that's all I have to say about that. It has to do with the next item in the agenda as well. Do you have any questions? I can go into that further on the next one, or?
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 20-657. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-658, in the matter of approving an easement agreement with William and Carolyn Noble in conjunction with the Lower Allen Creek Relief Pump Station project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So this easement is actually two separate easements. There's one for a parallel trunk sewer to our existing trunk sewer, and the second easement is the easement that runs fiber, gas, power, water to our new Lower Elm Creek pump station. Getting these easements put in place and being able to add flow from Berlin Business Park down to this new pump station will allow us to extend the time until we need to actually get back into the Central Elm Creek Water Reclamation Facility construction. So it'll extend capacity, basically. The easements were negotiated in total for $10,000 and 10 tap credits to the seller.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 20-658. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-659, in the matter of certification of delinquent accounts to the county auditor for accounts to be assessed to payable year 2021 taxes.
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
So we certify delinquent accounts when they're above $25 and are more than $90 90 days past due. This quarter, we're certifying 1,264 accounts, which is 4.29% of our total accounts. And considering the pandemic, we're definitely pleased. Delinquent accounts are holding steady and actually have improved since the previous year.
Oh,
That's what I was going to ask, is how they compared. It seemed like they look down a little bit, but I don't know.
They are down, yeah, the first quarter was 4.28%, and then the last time it was that low was, looks like the first quarter of 2018.
It's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 20-659. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. Thank you, Eric. Good
Thanks, Eric.
job.
Resolution number 20-660, in the matter of appointing a member to the Delaware Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. We have before you a resolution to appoint Asa Benjamin Winkler to the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board, and we recommend your approval.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 20-660. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is a delay in there.
We're sitting.
Resolution number 20-661, a resolution of necessity to levy a renewal of an existing tax with an increase in excess of the 10 million limitation for the purpose of establishment and operation of a 911 system.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning.
Welcome.
John Donahue, Chair of the 911 Board. And it's time for, once again, for us to address our 911 levy funds. Our 911 levy funds is part of two financial revenue sources that we have, the other being the wireless funding that the 911 Board receives. However, that funding is very much restricted on what it could be used for. But having said that, just a short little overview. The 911 Board was created back in 2000, and its primary focus back then was the consolidation of the city and also the county 911 centers. But the board is composed of elected officials, which some are here today. Charles Miley's here. Also, Commissioner is here as well as representatives. We have two representatives as city managers. We have our sheriff, who will speak later as well. We have two police chiefs, three fire chiefs, and of course your EMS director as well that serves on the board. Since consolidation, our focus has been making our 911 center the premier 911 center in this area, and certainly in the state, if not even in the nation. Some of our recent accomplishments have been, we were the first agency in Central Ohio to have 911 texting. We've also, we're the first in the state of Ohio to have ASAP to PSAP. And what that means is the ability for alarm companies to automatically integrate information into our PSAP or our computer system when there is a alarm system. And finally, as you remember last year, we achieved CALIA accreditation, which is just an absolute phenomenal accomplishment. We give our director a lot of kudos for that. But the responsibility of our board is not taken lightly. We want to ensure that our 911 center is there today and tomorrow, not only for our citizens, but also for our first responders. As we look to the future, we have many challenges ahead of us that we need to be planning for. Certainly, our county is growing rapidly as we're continuing to see that. And we want to make sure that our 911 center is capable of meeting that demand as our county grows. Secondly, we have the replacement of tower site facilities as well that we're going to need to start looking at. We need to also continue our replacement of technology and upgrades. And finally, we need to start looking at the long-term aspect and start planning for a new 911 center. Earlier this year, our 911 Administrative Committee met and began reviewing the short and long-term plans of our center. Included with that is we began looking at the revenue sources and also our expenditures, both short and long-term. Including with that was our capital needs. The committee recommended to the 911 board that we consider levy renewal with a .05 mil increase. This was not taken lightly by this board in our recommendation, because we know what not only our cities and our counties and also our townships are facing, but our nation as a whole as far as what we are facing as the economic challenges. But this is what's right for our, what we felt as an administrative committee, this is what was right for our county. The board met in early July and discussed in detail, including the operation of many different aspects, whether we should go with just a straight renewal, we should listen to our administrative committee and move forward with a renewal with a .05 mil increase, or we should go with a straight replacement. The board in early July recommended and approved to the Board of County Commissioners that we go forward with a renewal with a .05 mil increase. However, after that, there was much discussion pertaining to that. There were some revisions in some of the charts we were looking at, and with that, we looked at increasing the potential and working with George Keitza, the 2% increase up to a 2.5% increase that is typically forecasted annually with the revenue source. With that, last week our board met once again, and with that discussed and looked at all the options. Today I'm bringing forth with that board's unanimous approval to ask the county commissioners to consider placing on the November ballot a renewal with a .05 mil increase. Now, this increase will cost a homeowner of a $100,000 house $1.75 annually. And that's for a $100,000 house based on market value, which would be a total cost of $19.38 annually per $100,000 of market value.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Certainly. It's $1.75 per $100,000 market value increase.
Okay.
Okay? And that will raise that amount from to $19.38 per $100,000.
Okay.
Now, knowing this and knowing the economy and knowing that we have been very fortunate here in Delaware County, one of the other things our board discussed is that annually we will continue to monitor the revenue as it comes in. But we also have the capability that to recommend to the Budget Commission that if our revenue is increasing more than what is needed, that we have the potential for a specific period of time to roll that back. So we have that capability. And we take that, our costs and our funding and our operation very seriously at this time. So in conclusion today, the 911 board, again, is asking the commission to approve and move forward in the November levy a renewal with a .05 mil increase to provide funding for our 911 center for today and in the future. And I'll entertain any questions that you may end up having. Along with that, I know our sheriff is here to speak on that on behalf, as well as Trustee Miley and our 911 director.
I just want to add the 300,000, I think it's 306,000 is the average price of a home, and we're talking about $19.75 per.
I think that comes out to about 58.
It's about $1.14 per week. So it's, and for really a quality 911, I think we have the best in the state.
I would agree with you. I think it's been very fortunate, and I think, Commissioner, you certainly said, and been part of our 911 boards, we've got a great board that oversees. We certainly have a tremendous director, and I think together with the board as well as our director and the people that we have in our 911 center, we have certainly moved our 911 center to be that premier operation. So we thank you as commissioners as well for standing behind us.
Could you just explain a little bit more about the replacement of the power sites, what that is and
Certainly,
why
and,
we need to do that?
I know Director Brand is located in the bullpen, if you will, that's what I was calling
Okay,
it.
should
No, I'll be more than happy, and he
Okay.
can correct me. I know we have 8 tower sites located throughout Delaware County, and what those 8 sites are, they are the receiving sites for our mobile and also our portable radios. So when we key up one of our radios, it goes to one of those tower sites. So with that, what we are looking at doing, we have aging buildings that are out there. We've had some flooring issues and so forth, looking at the replacement. And there's a couple options that we're well aware of, looking at how to properly do that, going with lightweight construction or going with block construction. But what we want, this levy will allow us to analyze both of those and make that determination at that point in time on what is best for Delaware County, not only short-term but long-term.
So the sites then physically, what do they look like? I mean,
We have a large antenna with a building that houses computer system, radio equipment, and so forth. And these are interconnected right now through microwave capabilities. And one of the things that we will be looking at in the future will possibly go into fiber optics, because microwaves, obviously, with the growth in our county, trees growing and so forth, we could end up getting some breaks in our communication. That's the last thing that we want to have for our citizens as well as our first responders out on the street.
okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right.
Okay,
And I'll ask the others.
speak, and Auditor Keitza, I don't know, Dr.
Yep,
Brandt?
sure. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Welcome, Sheriff.
Welcome.
Morning.
Morning.
I didn't hear all of John's, or Chief Donahue's presentation. Sheriff Russ Martin, Delaware County Sheriff's Office. So hopefully I won't repeat anything, but I did want to speak on behalf of this levy and the tough decisions that our commissioners always have to make in regards to these. So as I was considering this, I was reminded just 3 weeks ago on a Sunday, my wife and I are returning from church home, and on Liberty Road heading southbound, there was a single-car crash. We were the first vehicle to get there, rolled upon a single-car crash. And frankly, if we'd have been about 30 seconds or maybe a minute before that, it might have been a 2-car accident. So I knew right away the first thing I should do is do what? Call 911. And called and got great service, as we always do here. And within minutes, while I was checking on the driver of the vehicle and kind of managing traffic, all the services necessary showed up: Delaware Fire, EMS, local police department. And then just a couple weeks later, on a Saturday morning, we're at home and my wife sees something suspicious on a road, called dispatch center and got an appropriate response too. So as I was thinking about that, I was reminded, on this end of law enforcement, my career's been receiving the calls from the center. And, but I'm also a consumer as well. And as I've thought about this issue, I'm well aware that as I was appointed and elected sheriff 8 years ago, I've been reminded that not only as an elected official responsible for the stewardship of the taxpayers' dollars, I'm also a taxpayer as well. So I don't arrive at these decisions or support these decisions with any less consideration than the board. It has to make the tough decisions on these also. This 911 board has worked really well through the years. You talk about good governance, the collaborative nature, and I think Commissioner Merrill would speak to that. There's 3 elected officials that serve on that 911 board and several appointees. And I will tell you, as we work through not only the operations and the organization and the 911 center, there's good discussion in regards to the levy as well. So I do support what's been proposed to the commissioners. I think the single best return on our taxpayer dollars are local taxes. And I think sometimes we get frustrated with how we see things managed perhaps at the state level. And for full disclosure, the only strong political statement I'll make today is I think we wish that some at the State House would have dedicated as much attention to these issues as they did bailing out the power plants, and we might not be in some of these situations. And I think about our local schools as well. So anyway, I'm assured that local tax dollars, the best return on investment. Patrick's done a good job in thoughtfully preparing for the next 5 to 8 years, not only the needs of the center as far as personnel, but also those capital needs as well. So I just want to get up here and share that I do support this, and hope the commissioners will arrive at the same decision too. I'll take any questions that you might have for me, if there's any at this time.
Comments? Good. I think Patrick, is Auditor Keitze going to speak as well, or just,
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Trustee Miley is, but I think Patrick will. So.
okay.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning.
Morning,
Morning,
Patrick.
Commissioners. Patrick Brandt, 911 Director. As you've heard from my two board members previously, Trustee Miley's going to defer his time. He's good for today, he said. But as you've heard from our previous two board members, we'd like to move forward with our replacement and increase. We believe we've done over our numbers very well. As most of you have known, we've gone through several renditions trying to make sure what we need versus making sure everything's accounted for, and moving forward to the future.
Your remarks were brief.
Brief. They had enough others. I don't want to drown you guys out today.
Okay.
I think they covered everything in technology that we want to keep doing. I think one of our big things, we did say at our last one, when we ran 5 years ago, we said we weren't going to get text 911 for our residents, and we have done that. That was within 2 years after the levy was done, which has been very positive. We've actually used that on numerous occasions, on at least a couple of occasions I know of personally, of trying to help people in need. So we did that, and we got our accreditation done. We're also looking for stuff in the future of our special needs and making sure we can keep up on that, and looking at technology in there.
I'd just like to say, as a board member, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we made a change because we had taxpayers in our county that were being billed duplicates if they lived in Columbus city limits, and we felt that was important to correct that. So we've tried to be good corporate citizens, or good citizens in the county, to make sure that we don't get a situation of duplication. And I have to applaud the work that Patrick does. I think we're extremely fortunate to have the leadership we have. The occasions where I've gone down and said and worked in 911, I've done it on occasion, as I think the two of you have. I'm always walk out amazed and very impressed with the quality, the professionalism, and the quality of work they do. And I know this board's worked very, very hard to prepare us for the future, and I applaud the effort of Patrick and your team.
That's the team that doesn't. I'm just on the side watching. They try to keep me out. I cause trouble.
No,
You're probably being a little modest there, but that's okay.
yeah. I would just like to add to my appreciation for the 911 staff and you, Patrick. I mean, during this difficult time, you've always been there for our residents, and it doesn't matter whatever happens, you're there, you serve, and you do an excellent job. I do believe that it's extremely important for us to go ahead with the additional 0.05 mil increase. I've seen on the state level too some of the things that are coming down the line, and we've had testimony to that regard, and I think we just have to keep up technologically, and I know the board has very carefully considered this a few times as far as the exact amount going on the levy, and it's a very modest amount and a great value. I support the levy.
Thank you.
Yeah, as you and I went through the rigors of a financial review, I want to appreciate, I want to echo that everyone said, we have a great 911 system, and great team, great technology, great customer service, et cetera. I do still think, as we've wrestled with this, I do still think the projections are conservative.
Understood.
When the county's property tax revenues are growing at 2.8% on average, to use 2%, I think is just ultra conservative. Using 2.5% is conservative. But, the board deliberated it, and we had the debate and so on. So I think we're ready to go forward with renewal with the increase. So again, I want to appreciate your leadership, your responsiveness. in the board's due diligence on their work. And I do like the idea of keeping an eye on the revenue, because the last levy, we actually increased the
Right.
balance over that levy.
I think that's a good point. Like some of the information back in, as I met with you one-on-one there, and we did have Auditor Keitze come and actually talk to the 911 board itself to explain, here's the variations of what they could do, and I think that's where it ended up being very well with Auditor Keitze coming to meet with the 911 board in their meeting to go over everything.
Yep. But again, despite it being conservative, I will support it. And
I'd like just to add, I think we all want to be very fiscally responsible, and the thing is, within the legislation, we have the ability to reevaluate this in year 3 or 4, and we've had that conversation, and we intend to take a look at it in those increments to make sure that we are collecting the appropriate amount.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because again, the last levy was a significant increase, but that was different circumstances because we wanted to be we wanted to have 911 be self-funding completely.
Yes.
And that wasn't the case. The general fund was subsidizing it, so we had to replace that funding. But even during that time period, the balance did grow. And again, 3 years from now, we'll see. I mean, I do think it's conservative. I think the balance will continue to grow a little bit. And, but that's better than it shrinking.
Yes.
So, and we do have big challenges ahead of us, recognize that. We got buildings to replace and new technology to implement and so on, radios, et cetera. So, okay, so anyway, I did everything else. Anybody else? Mike, any comments? All right, we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 20-661. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
That will bring us to administrator reports.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Farmer, County Administrator. I don't have anything to report this morning, but if there's anything you have questions about, I'd be happy to answer it right now. We've been busy on the 911 levy numbers crunching, so. But, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner Merrill?
We don't have anything other than I will say I was very pleased that the governor lowering us from red to orange last week. I think it's a good sign and certainly a positive for our county. And other than that, I have nothing.
Yeah. I'll just say, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, very positive. Yeah. Yeah, we keep moving in the right direction, taking the precautions we need to take, and definitely a step in the right direction. So very much agree. That's all.
It is interesting how we have less activities because of the epidemic. So we don't have as many evening functions and group gatherings and so on to talk about in the community.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Just
I
that
would
stuff.
say, I think I have found the virtual meetings, although a lot of people like them, I do think it's hard to conduct business, and regional planning last Thursday night, for example, it's sometimes difficult when people are giving testimony, it's hard to really get their message across. And so I look forward to the return of some sort of normalcy, because I think it benefits the whole process.
And you don't develop the relationships and have the informal interactions that are very important as well. So yeah, I don't really have anything else. We've got the virtual ditch hearing on Thursday.
Yes, we do.
This is gonna, I would implore everyone to be patient and help us as we all try to make this the best possible process we can. And this will be our first virtual hearing.
We do have Auditor Keitz's certification ready if the board wishes to go forward with the proceeding levy.
Yeah.
Or we can do
Yeah.
that
That was
before executive session.
next on the agenda, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, we'll go ahead with that item if you want.
Resolution number 20-664, a resolution to proceed with submission of the question of levying a renewal of the existing tax with an increase in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of the establishment and operation of a 911 system.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. As we put forward before you the information on the levy, now the auditor has certified the documents to go forward.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 20-664. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
Okay, Eric Hostetler did want to point out that on section 2 of that resolution, the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a .68 mils. So that is what that's going to read. Is the
We
board
need to-
ready for exec?
Change the resolution or anything, so we're good? We're good? Okay. Oh, okay. Part of the resolution was correct. Okay. Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, we do have need for executive session.
We do. Resolution number 20-665. And changed up my numbers here. In the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment and compensation of a public employee or public official, and to consider pending or imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 20-665. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
All right.
I'll be right back.
We're in executive session.
Thank you. Resolution number 20-666, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 20-666. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
All right. With no further business before